Hi everyone, so today we're going to re-review a bottle that I honestly did not think I would purchase again, but I did. Jim Beam Winter Reserve 86 proof. Now, this is kind of a surprise to me for a bunch of reasons that I did get this again. First of all, the proof. I'm really kind of not really into 86 proof at this time. Originally, when I started out, 86 to 100 proof was totally my zone, but now I'm definitely into higher proofs, but I do like coming back to lower proof stuff every now and then. Also, I remember I reviewed this exactly a year ago. It's funny, my review from last year came up as a on this day memory today, and I already purchased this bottle yesterday, but rather than post that review, I'm going for a fresh one because I want to see if my opinions changed. So that being said, I remember I reviewed it a year ago. I thought, it was, good for what it is. I thought it was tasty. I thought, as I used to kind of think, I want to kind of see if I still think that some of these Jim Beam expressions, certainly the white, Black Label, 7-year, and this were a little bit thin tasting. But at the same time, I was kind of impressed with the fact that this is like $32. Maybe a year ago it was $30. And considering the price, that involves a second barrel and a bunch of stuff, that it's not bad for the price. And I thought it was tasty, so figured it worth another try. So just to go back on this, Jim Beam Winter Reserve, it's 86 proof. It is aged 6 years. It is finished in new toasted white oak barrel. So it is a finishing process in a toasted barrel. Now, I love toasted bourbons. Not quite sure if this is classified as a toasted bourbon. There's a bunch of other things going on, but it does look like it's finished in a second new toasted oak barrel. So that's supposed to impart, as it says on the bottle, notes of vanilla, cinnamon, clove, etc. Mash bill, I believe it's the same Jim Beam mash bill of 77 corn, 13 rye, 10 malted barley. And I remember I actually did, I think I did some comparisons against the 7-year. Again, this is, 6, that's 7-year. And I thought it was tasty. The thing is, this is $32 now. The 7-year is around $27, $28 by me. And you say, why is it more expensive? Since that's 7 years and it's 90 proof, whereas the Black Label, which is this guy right here, this used to be 86 proof, became 7-year, now 90 proof. So why is this less? Well, it involves a second, I'm assuming it's because it involves a second barrel, a second toasted white oak barrel. So there's more to it. So it would be a little bit more. So this has the same proof now as the 7-year, as the Black, Jim Beam Black before it became the 7-year. That was 86 proof. This is 86 proof. But again, so it's just a few dollars more than the 7-year, but also it sounds like there's a little bit more that goes into it. And here's the final thing before we get into drinking this. I thought a year ago that this was just a limited release. I thought it was one of these kind of one-time things. They were just releasing it last year, and it wasn't going to happen again. And not every store has this, but Wegmans has consistently had this throughout the year. I believe I've seen this before, not just winter, but, throughout the season. And, it's kind of getting cold again. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. And ironically, it looks like it actually was released just around a year ago this month. Definitely a year ago this month, because I have the news bulletin from Breaking Bourbon. But my review, when I did one of these on this days, was actually a year ago. And I just figured rather than post that, we'll do it all over again. And I just happened to purchase this yesterday at Wegmans. So let's crack this open. There's a screw top. Let's take a fresh look at it and see if this is actually worth a pickup, and if it's any better for a few more dollars than the Jim Beam 7 and the other ones. Here we go. Okay, so we have this all poured up. It is a screw top, so there's no cork pop to see. I'm going to use one of these different glasses. Ironically, this glass was from a Jack Daniel's tasting I did on the cruise ship a couple of summers ago. So it's kind of a different glass. Took it home. Actually, it's a good nosing glass because it's kind of very thin vessel, kind of like similar to a Glencairn, except the whole thing is like this instead of it being wider at the bottom. But let's give this a nose. Well, I am getting a little bit of cinnamon coming out of that. Again, it's 86 proof. It's not going to be blasting you or anything like that. It is mild. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. Okay. Let me just get more and more. So, I do know why I said a year ago, because I just watched my On This Day a couple hours ago, but not posting it. And I said I thought it had kind of a thin taste, as some of these do. And it does. It does a little bit. Again, this is 86 proof. I think why maybe the Jim Beam 7 I thought was a little better, because I know it's only a few proof points difference, but that 90 maybe makes a slight difference. But it is a little thin, a little light, but there are some nice flavors. Now, I said a year ago, which I used to say, there's a certain Jim Beam profile. The white, absolutely. Definitely don't notice it on the 7. Maybe I'll have to try it again to see if it's on the black. A certain Jim Beam profile that I've noticed, not on the, the small batch collection, the Knob Creeks and that stuff, but on this. And I get that a little here. However, there are definite notes in terms of as they advertise on the bottle. There is the cinnamon. There is a little bit of vanilla. Definitely cinnamon. Yeah, I'm definitely getting that. So what I would say with this, and I'll take another couple of sips here, but I think this is what also drew me to this, not the fact that it's kind of getting cold again. Well, that actually is it. It's a nice tasting, easy sipping bourbon. And it kind of is something nice for the cooler weather. Now, it says Winter Reserve, and it has a fall type of a, I kind of look at this as like a fall Thanksgiving type color here. And it does kind of remind you of the cooler weather. And not that this is going to warm you up any more than, I think some of the higher proof bourbons will definitely warm you up. But there is something about this time of year, and as it gets colder into the holiday season, and the flavors here, they do connect. There is something there. So I would say this. I don't see these at every stores, but if you do see this, I'm not building up your expectations. This is going to be, oh my God, this is a Pappy Van Winkle or anything. But it's, for the price of what it is, it's $32 by me in Wegmans in New Jersey. I'm pretty sure this would be less than other places. You just want something easy, whether you like higher proof bourbons or higher proof whiskeys like I do or not. If you just want something to sip on easy, that's kind of tasty, you're not going to expect anything crazy out of it, but it's just a nice, easy sipper. I think this would meet that. I think the price I get, maybe it kind of would think it would be a few dollars less, but I get the difference of why this is more. This is the second toasted. I'm not really getting the toast on it. That's why I kind of don't want to call it a toasted bourbon. I'm not really getting the toast as much as I am the cinnamon and the vanilla, as they say. So, but there is more of a process in this, so it's going to be a few dollars more than 7. So in closing, you know what? For the price, not one of my favorite bottles, but you know what? It was good enough to make me want to pick it up a second time, which I did not think I would do. And I figured I would pick it up for, the days, pours. I just want to have a nice, easy sipper, kind of cooler months, maybe by a fire. It's honestly, it's not a bad pour. And I would, as I did, I think it was worth the pickup for, $30, $32, something like that, or less. Cheers.